Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, the owner broker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of the program. Now, Barb, most people worry about leaving money on the table when they're accepting an offer. How do home sellers know that it's a done deal after they accept a contract?
Well, Richard, to be honest, they don't. The good news is most of the deals go through. When the market was hot, it was a very low percentage of fallout in contracts, but that number has gone from like 10% to 30% now. And home sellers really want certainty. They want to know their house is going to sell. They want to know that they're going to get their price. They want to know that things are going to go smoothly. They want to know their sale will go through, and they want to be sure of their destination as well as having the funds to improve their lifestyle going forward. And it's not necessarily certain when you accept a contract. It basically, buyers can walk away from a contract and they have 8 or 10 different reasons to do so. They could terminate just because they change their mind. And if we don't protect their earnest money, I've seen it where a buyer basically terminated just a few days before closing, just suddenly walked away. Now, we did protect that seller's earnest deposit, but they had already packed up and 90% moved out when this happened. And that's an absolute nightmare for home sellers. It doesn't, fortunately, that scenario doesn't happen that often, but you don't know. So our team is trained on how to protect our clients in that kind of scenario. Most agents assume, oh, at this point in the contract, the earnest money is non-refundable. No, that's not the way our state laws are designed. Basically, it's 100% refundable, even at the finish line. And you can't make a buyer buy, you can't make a seller sell, but the buyer has a lot more opportunities to bail out. The seller has few, if any, at all. To top it all off, the MLS has these unbelievably stupid rules that create demand destruction for the home sellers. So if you're a home seller, Richard, wouldn't you like it if you had a good offer that you accepted, bird in the hand, followed by a backup one that if buyer one bails, you got buyer number two? Doesn't that feel good?
Boy, that sounds like a great position to be in. How can you do that?
Well, the MLS rules don't let home sellers do it in this really nationwide with it. And the reason they're doing it is the most unbelievable thing, is to make it more convenient for the agent so they don't have to show a home that's already under contract and waste their time. But at the end of the day, okay, if a seller accepts a contract, the buyer could bail out just because they don't like the paint color. The buyer could bail out if they don't like their loan. 3-4 weeks into the process, even when you've already moved, they could bail out and say, well, I don't want it anymore. And then during all this time, your house is showing on all the online portals, if you follow their rules, as not being available. It is absolute demand destruction. And that's what the rules require, just to make it more convenient for the agents that are really just not selling homes. I'll give you a couple of specific examples. One of them is what we call the word under contract. So most of the buyers are looking on the tech company sites now. They're not looking in the MLS. So they're looking at Zillow, homes.com, realtor.com. And when we're forced to change the status in the MLS. And, oh, by the way, certain MLSs like RE Colorado, most of Denver and most of Southern Colorado, if you don't change the status within 24 hours of the status actually changing, they will fine you $250 the first time, $500 the second time. So there's a punishment to it if we don't follow their stupid rules. So we show it under contract. It shows up in realtor.com and Zillow as being not available, right? So buyers don't look at it because they think it's not available. And realtor.com uses the word contingent. They don't really, most of the consumers don't really know what that means. Contingent on what? Well, contingent on the buyer getting their loan and maybe still liking the house in 30 days. But contingent is also the same word that's used on realtor.com. If the seller has accepted a contract contingent on their home selling. I just got an offer like this. Hey, Richard, will you please reserve your home for me? I'll pay you full price, right? I'll give you a good down payment. And wait for me to sell my home. And oh, by the way, it's not even on the market yet. How do you feel about that?
I feel horrible about that. I would have to say I'm going to reject that. I'm going to talk to you. You're my expert on this thing, but that doesn't sound like a good deal at all. That sounds like a lot of wishful thinking.
And if you get back to these MLS rules, if you change the status according to their rule, other buyers won't look at it, even though we don't know if this buyer can buy. All we have is a buyer that likes the home, that would like to buy the home if their home maybe sells. And oh, by the way, they haven't even taken the steps to put their home on the market to get it sold. It's insane. Who came
That
up
is the
with this idea?
definition of demand destruction.
It is. It's like, who came up with this really dumb idea? So that it's our multiple listing service. And if you don't comply with their rules, they will take you to the MLS police and fine you. That's how it works. Now, I have a way around it because I work for my clients. I don't work for the MLS. Not at one time, any time in my 30-year career did the MLS ever pay me a commission check. Therefore, I'm going to do what's best for my client. Go ahead and take me to the MLS police. I'm happy to face it, okay, because it's really stupid. And here's what else happens. Let's say a buyer walks away from a contract, right? So we've told the MLS and Realtor.com and Homes.com and Zillow that the home was under contract, but now, oh, it's back on the market. What do you think the buyers are assuming happened here? What would you assume when you saw that, Richard?
I would assume that there was something that was wrong with it. Maybe an inspection turned up something that, killed the deal.
Exactly. That's the automatic assumption for everybody. Something's wrong with the house. But 99% of the time, there's nothing wrong with the house. There's something wrong with the buyer. They change their mind. They can't get qualified, whatever it is. Oh, by the way, in the state of Colorado, there is no legal requirement for the real estate agent to verify that the buyer can buy at any time in the process. So here we are tying up this property, making these sellers move. And oh, whoops. Oh, I didn't know they couldn't buy a house. I mean, to me, it's unacceptable what the MLS has done to our industry. And that's why people hate real estate agents almost as much as lawyers. Hate to say that to you, Richard, because I know you're a lawyer, but they don't
I
trust
didn't
them.
like a lot of the other lawyers. I will tell you that.
Anyway, so I mean, it's a problem. So if a home is priced right, okay, there will be a stack of buyers that want the home. So why are you going to tell the whole world it's unavailable? Now, if they call me and they ask the question, I'll tell them what's going on. I actually got yelled at last week, Richard, by another agent's buyer. We put this home on the market. The sellers chose to price it very realistically, which was good. And within 4 days, we got an almost full price contract, cash, closed pretty quick. Sellers were good with it. They accepted it. I changed the status in the local MLS, but not on Zillow, Realtor, and Homes.com because I have my own way of doing it. And I got a call from this buyer that said, "Can you please confirm that this home is under contract?" And I said, "Yes, it is under contract." She goes, "Well, I did my real estate agent call you?" I said, I had somebody call me, but I don't think they had seen the house yet. She goes, "No, that wasn't my realtor." "Did my realtor, what's his name?" She told me his name. "Did he call you?" I said, "No." And she goes, "Well, I'm just trying to decide if I should fire him." And I said, "Why do you say that?" She goes, "Because I've been looking for 2 years for a house, and this was the perfect house for me, and he didn't call you." Of course, calling me doesn't do anything. You have to send me an offer. And so I asked her a couple questions. I said, "All right, well, if you wanted to make an offer, how come there was no offer?" "Well, I had him call you. So I don't know if he told her that he had to call me first before he wrote an offer. Just so you know, it's only 1 month of school to be a real estate agent. So there's no job description. So I don't know what they're assuming on what they have to do to submit an offer, but it's a 10-minute form fill and hit send on email. And they had time to do it. They had time to compete with the other buyer, but they never wrote the offer. They never sent the offer. And she's trying to decide if she wants to fire her agent because it went under contract. I said, you had time from the time that you saw it. That buyer had submitted their offer the day before, and then we countered, and all day long they didn't sign the counter until late at night. And we had some little back and forth about the counter too. So you had time to do it. She goes, yeah, but he didn't call you, did he? I said, I don't know. There's 55,000 agents, but I don't think so. I talked to one agent about that property that had not seen it yet. So that kind of stuff happens all the time because there is no job description, right? And these people go out and they hire somebody that has their back. So the other question I asked her is, by the way, that home had been on the market all week. Where have you been if you've been looking for 2 years? She goes, I know. I had to find it. I had to find it myself. I have to do everything. So that's another problem with real estate agents. They don't go out and find homes for their buyers. The buyers find it and go, hey, agent, go open the door and then ask the seller to pay you thousands of dollars for opening a door on a house I found and making an offer for me and, filling out a 10-minute form. That's basically how it works right now. And people are getting really disgruntled with that whole process. I could go on and on about that. Anyway, we have a lot of solutions to help home sellers kind of, get around that done deal scenario to make sure they understand that we're going to go through this process. We have to kind of trust their side that they can perform. But for us, we're going to verify. Even though the state doesn't require us to verify, we are going to verify. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call, 719-301-3900. My name is Barb Schlinker, the host of the show, Your Real Estate Voice. We're talking about whether or not your deal is a done deal. When we come back, we're going to talk about a few little things that will make your transition hassle-free. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Barb is the host of the program. And Barb, we've gone from nearly all homes selling for a premium price to homes sitting longer on the market and some homes not even selling. How do you give your home sellers certainty when it comes to the sale?
Well, Richard, there about 80% of the buyers out there actually have a house to sell before they buy. Did you know it was a number that high?
I did not. I would never thought that.
It's a lot. And so how do you solve that problem? Most agent solutions, the best solution for them is to put your house under contract and then make it contingent on the close. So now this home seller's got to worry about not only his buyer going through the process, but the buyer's buyer going through the process. So it's kind of double jeopardy in that scenario. We actually have all kinds of buy before you sell cash offer programs, because for buyers, the biggest fear is basically not being able to get the home that they want or having the deal fall out at the last minute. So we have some great programs. In fact, 2 of them are lenders. To me, when I heard about this program, I just flipped out because it's astounding that 2 lenders will be willing to take their cash, go buy the home that you want for you for cash, then wait for you to sell your current home. Then when you sell your current home, they want the loan. But even if you're not getting a loan, they'll do it too. So it's amazing. And I don't think a lot of people are aware of those. We have 7 different buy before you sell programs. So if you want to find out about those, give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You can give Barb a call at 719-301-3900. Ask for Barb. You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. If you're thinking of making a move, call Barb, 719-301-3900, or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll be discussing how to choose a real estate agent who can help you reach your goals of selling your home, plus Barb's hot new listings. Stay tuned for those.